Welcome back to the long-awaited 43rd installment of Swan's Japanese Horror Reviews. We're going to kick things back into gear with a look at Ikeda Toshiharu's 1988 classic, Evil Dead Trap. Now this is a really cheesy, really over-the-top film that has a lot in common with 80s American slasher films. So I really see this as something more like A Nightmare on Elm Street than, say, The Ring or The Grudge. And I think that's what makes this movie so much fun and so great to watch. The story follows late-night TV talk show host Nami, and she gets this mysterious VHS tape in the mail at work one day. So she takes the tape out of the package, she puts it in the player, and she is just subject to this horrible snuff film where this woman is beaten and killed on tape in a very graphic manner, mind you. So what does she do? Well, she gets a group of camera people and they go to the factory in which was showcased in the tape, and they try to get the big scoop out of what's going on, if this is a hoax or not. Yeah, so I mean the plot is ridiculous, and when they get there, as you can imagine, with a group of, 5 or 6 people or so, you can probably bet that people are going to be picked off one by one and killed in very gruesome and grotesque manners. And that's the movie in a nutshell. So it's a really straightforward film, and this is just a classic slasher film by the numbers. The gore scenes in the movie are surprisingly graphic, and there's one scene in particular at the beginning of the film when Nami is watching the videotape, where when I was watching this with all of my friends, we all winced back in disgust because it was just like, oh my god, that looks so real. Like, you really have to give a hand to the special effects in this movie because while most of it is very cheesy, some of it is actually surprisingly realistic. And so, if you add that to all of the nudity and sex in the film, this is clearly not one for younger viewers. My favorite part of the movie, though, is the spectacular Casio keyboard soundtrack. Like any good slasher film from the 80s, there's a theme of the film that is played ad nauseum throughout the entire movie, and it seems like it can't go by 5 minutes without this theme being played. The DVD comes to us from Snapsy Films, and it's part of their Asian cult cinema collection. Snapsy has been great at releasing really bizarre J-horror films from all sorts of different eras. There's stuff like The Horrors of Malformed Men, Stacy, and now Evil Dead Trap, so it's really great that they've kind of established this nice little niche market of having these really bizarre, out-there films. The DVD itself is fairly standard. It's got the subtitles, Japanese dialogue, English subtitles. There's also a commentary with the director and the special effects manager, so if you wanted to hear about how they made some of the scenes, then that's pretty interesting. Evil Dead Trap is a great film to watch with your friends if you really want to shock them with some really grotesque and gruesome gore scenes, but also keep things lighthearted and fun with the campy 80s vibe and the Casio keyboard soundtrack. And I think if you want something completely out there, then please give Evil Dead Trap a try, and who knows, at the very least, you'll have the theme music stuck in your head for days. Told ya.